The European Green Deal is a European Union initiative to ensure zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. What do these changes mean for Poland?
Wprowadzi się nam duże podatki za auta spalinowe.
We will be introduced to big taxes for combustion engine cars. A building directive will be introduced that will require us to insulate our homes to make them zero emission. We will immediately have to replace windows from 2-pane to 3-pane. Not long ago we had subsidies and changed our stoves to eco-coal, to gas, and now gas is already bad too.
Zmienialiśmy swoje piece na ekogroszek, na gaz. W tym momencie gaz już też jest niedobry.
Niestety, ale dla gospodarki europejskiej, dla obywateli Europy,
Unfortunately for the European economy and for the citizens of Europe, this is simply murder. It will involve an absolute lack of competitiveness of the economy. To begin with the European economy and then the Polish economy. The lack of competitiveness will cause layoffs and massive unemployment.
będzie powodował ogromne zwolnienia, będzie powodował ogromne bezrobocie.
In response to the Green Deal, NSZZ Solidarity has announced a nationwide protest.
Rolnicy będą z nami. Bardzo na nich liczymy.
Farmers will be with us. We count on them very much. We hope that this demonstration, like the farmers' demonstration so far, will finally begin to have some effect. We have planned the demonstration in Warsaw for the 10th of May at noon.
10 maja w samo południe.
The farmers have been protesting for several months now. As they themselves say, so far they have heard only empty words, so they are waiting for specifics. So far the protesters have blocked roads across Poland, but they are announcing a new form of demonstration. We will change our form of protests. On the 4th of April, we will visit all our MPs, senators and MEPs in their offices, if we find them there. We also want to give them a small gift in our demands, our solutions for now. Solidarity representatives want the people to have their say in a nationwide referendum on whether they are ready for the European Green Deal policy and whether Poland should adopt it. Queen Camilla stepped in for King Charles at the traditional Maunday service on Thursday, presenting 75 men and 75 women, one for each year of the King's age, with two small purses containing symbolic gifts of specially minted coins. The custom, which dates back centuries, recognises recipients for their outstanding Christian service from across the country. The Queen greeted people waiting for her outside Worcester Cathedral with British flags and flowers after the service ended. An anti-monarchy protest was held nearby where protesters held yellow flags that read, "Abolish the monarchy." While King Charles missed Thursday's event, he is due to join other members of his family on Sunday at a scaled-down Easter Sunday service at Windsor Castle, his first public appearance at the royal event since it was disclosed in February that he was suffering from an undisclosed form of cancer. In an audio message broadcast on Thursday, the King used the reference to praise people who extend the hand of friendship, especially in a time of need, and echoed his pledge to serve the nation that the British monarch made at his coronation last year. 7 people have heard charges in the Justice Fund investigation. Today, Homeland Security officers brought a former department director from the Justice Fund to the District Court in Warsaw. The court decided on temporary detention for 3 people. In its justification, the court indicated that the measure was supported for 3 reasons: the fear of matricide, the fear of flight, and the severe punishment to be faced by the suspects. The main suspect is the chairman of the Profeto Foundation, the Reverend Michał Olszewski. The foundation he heads received money from the Justice Fund for the construction of the Archipelag Centre for Victims of Crime. According to the neo-prosecutors, the allegations concern improper spending of funds. Reverend Michał Olszewski's defence attorney will appeal the court's decision and demand his release from custody. We will simply put the procedures provided for in the Code of Criminal Procedure and use arguments that seem patently true. Father Olszewski's defence attorney had difficult access to his client and also to the case file. Father Michael was detained at the family home of a Radio Profeto employee. This contradicts the media slander spread by Neo-TVP journalist Justyna Dobrosz-Oracz. The prosecutor's office's action on the use of money from the Justice Fund. According to my unofficial information, one person, a clergyman, was detained, not in a monastery but in a hotel. He was staying there in the company of a woman. After this defamation of the priest's good name in the Post, a wave of abuse poured on him. Anyway, this is not the first time. At the end of January, TVN Facts aired footage of alleged irregularities in the financing of the construction of the Archipelago Crime Victims Assistance Centre. The media allegedly harassed Father Michael's mother by telephone.
Pogodziłem się z tym, że
I have come to terms with the fact that after so many years of work, my good name has been destroyed. I have come to terms with the fact that public emotions are so heated that I was beaten up some time ago, but it is not my agreement that my loved ones be harassed. According to Father Michael's defense attorney, the priest is completely innocent. In the documents made available to the priest's defense attorney, there is no evidence of any guilt on his part.
Nie znalazłem
I find no evidence of any affair in the Justice Fund.
jakąkolwiek aferę Funduszu Sprawiedliwości.
nie mamy nic.
We have nothing to do with
wspólnego z
politics.
polityką,
We
tylko
just
po
want to
prostu chcemy
help.
pomagać.
On Tuesday, at the behest of prosecutors investing the use of funds from the Justice Fund, searches took place in various parts of the country, including at the home of former Justice Minister Zbigniew Ziobro, without the presence of the owner or any person designated by him. And this is required by law. Since no one was at the house, the gate was damaged and the door was broken so that the security services could get inside.
Doskonale wiedzieli.
They knew perfectly well that I was not at home for reasons beyond my control. As you know, I recently underwent a very serious operation, so it did not take a genius or special operational powers of the ABW to determine where I was at any given time and contact me and get the opportunity to enter the house in a civilized, lawful manner without destroying the place.
Wejścia do domu w sposób cywilizowany.
According to the Neo-Prosecutor's Office of Adam Bodnar, funds from the Justice Fund were improperly spent and were corrupt in nature. The Prosecutor's Office alleges that the Reverend Michael Olszewski did not have sufficient experience in the construction of such a facility, which was not a criterion in awarding the money. When you hear about the actions of the Justice Fund, on the one hand, you have to reprimand against Father Olszewski for having built the archipelago. There is no evidence that he took anything for himself. Meanwhile, this centre stands and is almost finished. Secondly, that was not a criterion in this competition. According to commentators, the authorities' actions are an attempt to cover up past failures. A week ago, 100 days of Prime Minister Donald Tusk's government passed. Most of the promises have not been fulfilled. The Justice Fund expends money that courts award to offenders. Among other things, money from the fund went to the comatose patients in the Budzik clinic created by the Ewa Błaszczyk Foundation. The fund allocated 44 million zloty for its construction. The fund has also purchased medical equipment worth nearly 57 million zloty for more than 150 hospitals across Poland. Łukasz Muda, Telewizja Republika. Bartłomiej Sienkiewicz asked for help from the prosecutor's office in the fight over public media. In response, prosecutor Ewa Wrosek sent 40 requests to the court to secure claims for the annulment of resolutions concerning public media. Hence the question, is Ewa Wrosek a politicized prosecutor acting by email? This has absolutely nothing to do with the independence of the prosecutor's office or the prosecutor's office. The prosecutor in this case acting in accordance with the law. This is conduct that should result in immediate dismissal from this important service.
Powinno skutkować natychmiastowym po prostu odejściem.
The complicated and multi-page letters signed by prosecutor Ewa Wrosek were supposed to have been written in a few hours, which is highly unlikely.
Nie ma w zasadzie dzisiaj.
There is basically no substantive argument today as to how Miss Prosecutor Wrosek, in a few hours, being out of the prosecutor's office, could have prepared a letter of several dozen pages on public media matters. This is simply an indictment, a substantive indictment against Miss Prosecutor Ewa Wrosek.
Wobec pani Ewy Wrzosek.
She herself admits that she is not the only author of the letters she signed. I consulted with other prosecutors who have more experience in the field of corporate and business law on the drafts of the security applications that I drew up. Media findings, however, indicate that the motions may have been drafted outside the prosecutor's office, most likely at law firm Clifford Chance, which currently handles public media. The documents were sent from a post office dozens of meters away from the law firm. They were sent not from the district prosecutor's office for Warsaw Mokotów, but from the offices of this Polish post office facility, which is about 70 meters away from the offices of Clifford Chance. Earlier, the documents were scanned on a machine that is not at the prosecutor's office, but is at Clifford Chance's offices.
No także to jest taka, powiedziałbym, kolonizacja polskiej administracji, czy instytucji państwa polskiego przez międzynarodowe kancelarie, międzynarodowe firmy doradcze. I tak naprawdę pokazuje to niekompetencję.
One of the lawyers at Clifford Chance is Sylwia Gregorczyk-Abram, co-founder of the Free Courts Initiative. She was also one of the members of the online group Input, which planned to take over public media. Privately, she is a friend of prosecutor Ewa Wrosek. The law firm itself, in turn, was involved in the construction of Nord Stream 2, a gas pipeline whose main investor was Russia's Gazprom.
W momencie, kiedy
The moment the civic platform comes to power, some international law firms that de facto decide our public life are immediately launched. This has the hallmarks of a loss of some sovereignty, because that's what it's all about. Hence the request to the prosecutor's office about the possibility of the committing of a crime by the prosecutor Ewa Wrosek and by the law firm Clifford Chance, submitted by deputies of the United Right. This case should be clarified. We will pilot it, but it is already as clear as day that the prosecutor's office is a private office of Tusk and Bodnar's political poachings. Poland, if you look at the rule of law, simply collapsed today. Regardless of Law and Justice's request, an investigation into the case has been launched by the National Prosecutor's Office.